This is reposted.
All right, Uncle Kirk is here. He's not so slyly trying to take over my job at the Reposted Podcast Network. He is here to talk about aliens and the universe and to make you think for just maybe 30 seconds today. Uncle Kirk, before we get going, how's your groin?
On the mend. Thank you for asking.
Okay. Before we get to today's quote, I'd like to simply ask Andrew Keller a question. Do you believe in aliens, or do you think it's a stupid question to even think about?
I don't think it's a stupid question to think about. I think maybe it's just me being lazy, but I throw it up to there's no way I could possibly know. The realm is so infinite that I don't know what's happening a couple blocks away from me, let alone millions of miles away. So I've thought about it, and I kind of just lay my wow, what do? You lay your feet down? You lay your hands down? How do you lay down?
You just take a nap, bring out a pillow?
You throw them up, right? You throw your hands up?
I throw my hands up, and I don't really think about it.
All right, so we have Uncle Kirk on to talk about the Fermi Paradox, which is this great sort of theory about aliens. But let's start with a quote today from astronomer Carl Sagan, who said, quote, "I'm frequently asked, do you believe there's extraterrestrial intelligence? I would say it'd be astonishing to me if there weren't extraterrestrial intelligence. But of course, there is yet no compelling evidence for it." All right, Kirk, give us the 30-second-ish view or what the Fermi Paradox. Andrew, do you want to tell everybody what the Fermi Paradox is real quick?
Yeah, it's based on Enrico Fermi. He's what is he? He's a physicist. The apparent contradiction between the lack of evidence for extraterrestrial civilizations and the various high estimates for their probability.
Kirk.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so I find this paradox extremely interesting. The basic concept is that in our observable universe, for every grain of sand, there should be 100 Earth-like planets capable of supporting life. And if 1% of those have life and 1% of those have intelligent life, there's still 10 quadrillion planets that fit that mold of being able to sustain life. Just in our galaxy, just in the Milky Way, there's 100,000 planets that should have intelligent civilization. And the Fermi Paradox is, why haven't we heard from any of those people?
Okay. Ooh, now that's good to think about. And I've said this before, and I love to use this statistic, which Andrew hates, is there are more galaxies in the universe than there are grains of sand on the Earth. Do I have that correct?
In theory. Is that in theory? I think that's in theory, right? I guess even if it's not I read this article and there's a range of we'll take the worst case scenario, 5%. It's 10 to the billion power. I think for me, the reason they're using this is to show context that I can't even wrap my brain around how many grains of sand are on the beach in Santa Monica, let alone the world. And so it's just, I'm going to go take a nap, but thinking about it, it's putting it into scale and how small you are.
Okay, let's get to the filters part now. Let's get to the aliens. Where are the aliens, Kirk?
It's a great question. So one part of this theory is that maybe they're not out there because there's a great filter. And the great filter would be something that ends the process of intelligent life. And so one option is that filter's behind us, that we did something extraordinary and made it over this hurdle that no other life makes it over. The scarier proposition is that filter's out in front of us, and it's something that we're going to run into eventually that will extinguish life.
And I think I saw that great filter in the context of possibilities of intelligent civilization, throwing lines going, and each star, each galaxy being a different line, and we're one of them, and either we're past it and we're headed towards more enlightenment or more advanced civilization, or we're gonna get wiped out, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I love this Fermi Paradox because, you know me, my theory is you're supposed to gather information so that when you're at a boring cocktail party, you run into some guy you don't know what to talk with. You might be an astronomer, be like, oh, hey, let's talk about the Fermi Paradox. But also to use this as a way to think about the cosmos, right? I don't think most people take 5 seconds to think we're answering email, we're off to the next soccer game, we got a dinner to cook. I think this is a great exercise to think about the bigness of the universe and how tiny we are. Is this what attracted you to the Fermi Paradox in the first place, Kirk?
Yeah, that's definitely a piece of it, and then also in the time scale that there's stars that are out there that are 3 to 3.5 billion years older than us, and that there's something both in a physical scale and a time scale. The minuteness of our existence is something worth spending a couple minutes pondering.
I guess I have a question for both of you. When you do the exercise and you think about this, what's your takeaway from it? Like, you get slightly more perspective of how small you are. What does that do for you? Does this make you kind of like walk around your house in a daze for a little bit until you get snapped out of it? Does it make you take action?
Kirk, go first.
I feel like it takes the edge off anything that's feels too important at the time. You know, I tell my kids all the time, like, hey, if you're not going to be upset about this in 3 days, it's not worth being upset about right now. And I feel like that this is that on a massive scale, that there's just getting really angry or frustrated about something, it's just not that critical.
I like that.
And that's exactly sort of the bigness of, we think our emotion, our soccer game, our this is the most important thing, but this just gives you a fuller perspective. Because I really mean this. I don't think the average person takes 30 seconds to think about the galaxies and the cosmos around them. And I think our humanness relates to that. You can't, if you don't spend any time with that, you don't become a fuller person. So I think it means something to think about it.
I also think that people don't take the time to think about what's happening in their county, like, or even their neighborhood. So like, you can feel small if you think about just driving down the highway. You're like, hey, there's a car going the other way. They have an entire life of things they're worried about. I feel small just thinking about that type of stuff. That's why maybe I take a nap when I think about the galaxy.
I might have to ice my brain after this.
It's fair.
That's all I got, Andrew.
That's all you got?
That's all I got.
Well, what's your takeaway when you think about these things? When it gets real big.
I just think, you know, I always want people to think about the bigger question. I always want people to think city, county, United States, country, world, galaxy, but most people don't. So my challenge, this is my challenge to the universe. Start thinking about the universe.
All right. Guys, think about the stars. Think about how they shine for you. If you have a buzz you'd like us to further explore, please reach out. You can find us at Reposted Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm Andrew Keller for Kirk Peterson and Coldplay, saying thanks for stopping by.